All right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Let's talk about these black people that's criticizing other black people because they don't want to vote for Biden. First of all, people like Roland Martin, Joy Reid, and those other black Democratic shields that they put in front of us to get our vote, they pay them to be the gatekeepers and to control the narrative about who we should vote for and who got our best interests in. As if we don't remember that Biden was behind the crime bills and called us super predators. Said if we don't vote for him, he ain't black. Said they're gonna put us back in chains. Have you noticed that every time it be election season, they send out the black shields? They pay them to create a narrative like we're so scared of Trump, as if Biden is not the one who's wicked, as if he's not the one that controls the narratives in Hollywood and all that weirdness. You know what I mean? That they done corrupted our church. Democrats invaded and corrupted the black church with this illusion of inclusion into their communities, while they still look and talk to us like second-class citizens. Malcolm X warned us about that. And then they try to make other black people feel some type of way because we don't want Biden in. That's because we not 304s. You're not gonna pimp me. You're not gonna lie to me and get what you want out of me and then throw me down and think you can come back. See, the Democrats play the black people like a woman with a broken spirit. That's why Farrakhan and Malcolm X always called the Democratic Party the plantation. Now, I'm gonna do some reactions to some videos, but I want to start with Joy Reid. You remember how they were saying, oh, they're banning books. They're banning books. They don't want the kids to know black history. Guess what they call in black history that they want to teach the kids? They want to teach the kids that the color purple, which is a fictional story, is black history. They want them to read that book because you know what's in it. And they want to, you know what? I'm going to let Joy Reid talk for herself. And then we're going to get deep. And I'm going to even play a clip by Malcolm X. This is for fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act for commentary and educational purposes. This is Joy Reid. Look what she's defending.
Parents of LGBTQ kids. So they have parental rights.
Every parent, Joy. Every parent means every parent has the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children.
And liberal parents? Do liberal parents have those rights as well?
All parents, sure.
So let me point you to some statistics. Sure. Because the question becomes then who gets to decide what all kids get to read? The Washington Post took a look at about 1,000+ book challenges that were filed, and they found that they were filed nationwide by just 11 people. Each of these people brought 10 or more challenges against books in their school district. Together, these serial filers constituted 6% of all book challengers, but they were responsible for 60% of filings in Florida. Tampa Bay Times, they found that of roughly 1,100 complaints recorded in Florida since July 2022, we're talking about more than 700 just from two counties, Escambia in the Western Panhandle and Clay County. Together, those are less than 3% of the public school enrollment, 600 of those complaints, 2 people. Why should 13 people get to decide what books tens of thousands of children get to read?
Well, I'm thinking it's probably because those 13 people saw what some of the content was in the books. I mean, explicit, graphic, sexual content. And I'm happy to talk about some of that content if you'd like to.
Well, this is the question again. The books that are being banned, I want to give you just some.
Books are being banned.
No, hold on a second.
Well, no, Joy, but I want to be clear. No one's banning books. Write the book.
Now, I want you to listen to the books that they don't want the little kids to read. Now, I got 3 daughters, 5 grandkids, and 4 of them is girls, and another one. I don't want my kids reading these books she's finna tell you about. at public school. I don't want to read them nowhere. You know what I mean? Why is they pushing this agenda on the kids? See, Democrats, they want your kids. They want your kids sold. You know what I mean? Not only is they overrunning our communities with migrants, they want to corrupt our kids on a whole nother level. Y'all talk about Trump, y'all talk about Republicans, and them being the lesser of two evils. They're not. Democratic Party is not the lesser of two evils. They're wicked, wicked. And I'm gonna show you. Listen to these books that they in an uproar about them not letting our children read.
Book, print the book, publish the book, put the book in the public library, sell the book, right? We're talking about a public school library. Mm-hmm. Children don't have unfettered access to the internet at school. Mm-hmm. I did a FOIA records request, and I wanted to see what kinds of internet sites are banned in schools, if we're going to talk about banning, right? Mm-hmm. And the subject matter in the books that moms are concerned about are the same things that kids don't have access to on the internet. So it just feels very hypocritical, right? No, why is no one out there protesting for, free the internet in schools?
Let me give you an example of some of the books that have been removed from shelves as a result of the activities of organizations like Moms for Liberty.
We're not going to talk like Moms for Liberty.
No.
Now watch the books and the content of the book. These Democrats. Listen to the content of the books.
And Moms for Liberty. Absolutely.
So I'm happy to have this conversation with you, Joy.
Absolutely.
But we're going to be specific about the actions of Moms for Liberty.
Oh, 100%.
Because I can't be possibly responsible for every single parent in America,
your organization is the lead. You're the leading organization that's doing this. You have chapters all over the country, and other organizations are following your lead. And PEN America has listed, they have posted the list of books that have been removed from shelves as a result of these activities. Let me just read you a couple of them. Anne Frank's A Diary of a Young Girl. Mouse, which is a book about the Holocaust, a graphic novel. Genderqueer, a memoir. All Boys Aren't Blue. Beloved, Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington. Ruby Bridges Goes to School. Slaughterhouse-Five, The Color Purple, Forever by Judy Blume. I could go on. These are books that are not only popular, in some cases are classics. Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. Let me give you an example.
Well, I'd like to answer your question.
Please do.
Yeah. So you just mentioned a list of books. And so Moms for Liberty doesn't have like a national book list. There was never a list of books that we put out and said, parents, be concerned about these books, right? We didn't do it because we want our parents to be effective advocates. So when moms are going into the libraries in the schools, when they're seeing what their children have access to, when they go to speak to the superintendent or the principal, they have accurate information, right?
They're where are they getting their information from?
You can just go online to a catalog in your children's library, and you can see what
without reading the books. What is booklooks.com?
I'm aware of a website called booklooks.com where parents can go and see some of the books that other parents are concerned about.
Booklooks.com has been used in Florida extensively in counties like, I used to live in Broward County. I lived there for 14 years.
Okay.
In counties like Broward, counties like Clay, counties like Escambia, Moms for Liberty activists are using booklooks.com. And it's essentially a Cliff Notes for books.
Yeah.
So you go through without even having to read the book. I'm going to just hold it up so our audience can see what it looks like. This is the one for All Boys Aren't Blue, which is one of the books Moms for Liberty has.
Everyone should go and see the content in this book. That's such a good idea.
And so what happens is you can do keyword searches and find certain keywords.
Like rape.
You can find
or anal rape or dildo.
You can find all sorts of
types
keywords.
of words.
But like, hold on, wait. Let me finish my question.
Okay,
then
great,
you can answer.
sure.
I'm going to give you time to answer, but I got to ask you first.
Oh, yeah.
And so what you find is the keyword that you find, the N-word, anything, words like you just used, then you'll get out of context passages from the book. And then based on that, Moms for Liberty members are going to places like Broward County school board meetings, reading out of context passages from these books, and then demanding that the school board remove them.
So
that is the way. The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, rape, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer
Please
for you. In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? That's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No, wait, we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who?
Let's see if she answered. Who want their little kids reading books with that content? Who want to send their little kids to a school where the teacher can say, "Oh, Jimmy, you want to be called Jane today," and the parent don't even know that when you send your son to school and the teacher's letting your son be a whole female at the school, letting them read all those kind of books, and you don't even know. See, black people, y'all need to stop letting other people raise your children. You know what I'm saying? And being so misled by these people. She says she's going to answer the question about when is it necessary for elementary school children to learn about incest, pedophilia, and sodomy and the rest. When is it okay for a child to know about these things? She says she's going to answer. Let's see if she answers.
Who's the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Are Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You
the
just
name of the author doesn't joy.
Here's my question.
We're talking about
Here's my question.
You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer.
Great. I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you. You're not interviewing me. So let's.
Joy keeps saying she's going to answer the question about when is it okay to teach these children these nefarious and luciferic things in the book. You see, they trying to say, oh, the Republicans, they trying to ban these classic books like The Color Purple and All Boys Aren't Blue and Woody Woo. The average black person don't want their children reading that at school. And if you do, it's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. When I was a kid, we didn't ever see no books like that. We couldn't get access to no books like that in school. This is why you look at your children and they so wild. They so immoral. Because they buying into the democratic scheme of undermining our morality. When you look at the book, They Rule by Secrecy, they said you can only rule a people if you erode their morality, because once they become immoral, they won't be able to have unity. This is why the reason black people don't have no unity in the black community is because we are become so immoral, so distrusting, so hateful toward each other, because we're so corrupted by these people that we can't even see it. She still will not answer this question about why do our children need to read these things when we don't give it to them and we don't approve. So we don't want the books in there. Put them in a library, public library. I'm not sending my 7-year-old to school to learn about this type of stuff. Why do they need to know about that? I'm gonna see if she ever answers.
Just make sure it's a conversation.
Okay, great.
So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book,
I don't have to be an expert to know that dildos aren't appropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
Is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience. Why is it your right or a Moms for Liberty activist's right to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author, why doesn't a liberal...
What kind of parent wants their children to read that unless their parent is some type of predator or some type of weirdo? Look what she advocating. These how these Democrats play in y'all face. How many of y'all want y'all children to go to school and that's what they learning? You ask your kid when they come to school, what did you learn today? Well, I learned what incest was. I learned what a strap-on was. Really?
parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So again, we're talking about incest, rape, and pedophilia.
And each parent, each parent has to decide.
The LGBTQ community, y'all should be offended. Y'all should be offended. What would make them think that if y'all had children, y'all would want your children to be going to school learning about that? Why even throw y'all in there? This is parents across the board don't want their children learning that. These Democrats is playing in your face and they getting so convoluted that it's easily to see through them. She will not answer that question. In what context does a child need to go to school and learn this particular subject?
Decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask it one more time. Right. What is your right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story? Why don't they have the right? Why don't they have the right as a parent to say, my child can have access to this book?
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. That means that they have either been raped by a family member, they've experienced
and your proof of that is what?
You just said that
What's
if a child feels seen by this story.
What I'm saying, you're now making assumptions.
No, but if a child has been raped, we should do a lot better than put a book on the library
Now you're literally
shelf.
creating a story behind a child that you don't know. Let me show you a form. This is a form that can be obtained in Broward County, Florida. Okay. I'm going to show.
Y'all can find this interview on the internet. I'm going to cut it off, but I'm going to tell you, she never answered the question because she can't. The whole argument was fake. You know, you have no business allowing small, minor children to have access to that type of material. It's pornographic. Now we're going to look at something else. Hold on with me. Now, I want you to pay real close attention to what Joe Biden says and how he says it.
Look at what they value and look at their budget and what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
First of all, ain't nobody putting me back in chains and have me doing no slavery. So if you're trying to scare a real person or a real adult with, if you don't vote for Biden, they're going to put you back in chains. Nah. Say that to the Times and the sellouts that support you. Ain't nobody putting me in no chains. You know what I mean? For real. I'm not going into slavery. Just got out of it. Just trying to come out of it. You think we're going back? But that's what they tell you. Because they want you to be so scared of the Republican Party while they pimp a bone out your back. Listen what Malcolm X said about the liberals and the conservatives. You think I'm going to listen to Joy Reid, Roland Martin, and all those Times and sellouts over Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and real leaders? Like y'all don't see what's going on in y'all communities being overran with immigrants. Y'all got to go to work every day. You one check away from being poor as heck. If you hit a pothole, a lot of y'all, if y'all car hit a pothole and it break the axle, your whole career is over. All you do is work and sleep and drink and smoke blunts because you don't have no time for nothing else if you working like that and ain't never getting nowhere. But you still claiming we gonna vote the Democrats because we so scared of the Republicans. You cowards. Y'all so scared to get away from that Democratic Party that you will let them drive your whole community into the ground, into the dirt. And a lot of y'all, the only reason y'all side because there's something in it for y'all. I done heard some women, they want to vote them because they think they're gonna get something. They will sell their whole community out just for a benefit from the crumbs off the Democratic table. They traitors. They real traitors for real. Listen to what Malcolm said about
it. Civil rights here in America.
fair
The
usage.
Negro, namely the power politics here in America. The Negro, namely the race problem, integration, civil rights issue, are all nothing but tools used by the whites who call themselves liberals against another group of whites who call themselves conservatives, either to get into power or to retain power. Among whites here in America, the political teams are no longer divided into Democrats and Republicans. The whites who are now struggling for control of the American political throne are divided into liberal and conservative camps. The white liberals from both parties cross party lines to work together toward the same goal. And white conservatives from both parties do likewise. The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a...
You can't tell me y'all don't see that. The liberal plays like he your friend. It's the difference. It's like the difference between being ate by a fox and a wolf. The fox got to take smaller bites than the wolf, but they both want to eat you. They both want to eat you. So you see these Negroes and these Toms, they come out and they sing Biden praises. Have you ever seen in the history of us being in this country, Negroes so preoccupied with putting another white man in power that they criticize other black people who don't want that white man in power? It goes back to what I always say. How are we going to get a better master than this? This the best master. You crazy. We don't want that master. We don't like how he talk. This one here, he talks so nice to us before he put us in the dirt. Listen to what Malcolm really saying.
A pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leaders who sell our people out for a few crumbs of token recognition, token gains, token progress. In the New York Tribune, in an editorial dated February the 5th, 1960, they pointed out that out of 11 million qualified Negro voters, only 2,700,000 actually take time to vote. This means that, roughly speaking, only 3 million out of the 11 million Negroes who are qualified to vote take an active part, and the remaining 8 million remain voluntarily inactive. And yet it is this small minority, the 3 million Negro voters, who help determine who will be the next president. If who will be the next president can be influenced by 3 million Negro voters, it is easy to see why the presidential candidates of both political parties put on such a false show with the Civil Rights Bill and promises of integration. They must impress the 3 million voting Negroes who are the actual integration seekers. And if so much fuss is made over these 3 million integration seekers, what would the presidential candidates have to do to appease the 8 million non-voting Negroes if they ever decided to become politically active? They hold the balance of power. Who are the 8 million non-voting Negroes? What do they want? And why don't they vote? The 3 million Negro voters are the so-called middle class Negroes, or high class Negroes, or uppity Negroes, who are referred to by the late Howard University sociology professor E. Franklin Frazier as the black bourgeoisie, who have been educated to think as patriotic individualists with no racial pride whatsoever, who believe in and look forward to the future integrated, intermarried society that is constantly being promised to them by the Negro politician. And therefore, this integration-minded 3 million minority remain an active part of the white-controlled political parties. But it must never be overlooked that these 3 million Negro integration seekers are only a small minority of the 11 million qualified Negro voters. The 8 million non-voting Negroes are the majority, the downtrodden black masses. They have refused to vote. They've refused to take a part in politics because they reject the Uncle Tom approach of the clergy politician leadership that has been handpicked for the so-called Negroes by the white man himself. This clergy politician leadership does not speak for the Negro majority. They don't speak for the black masses. They speak for the black bourgeoisie, the brainwashed, white-minded, middle-class minority, who, because they are ashamed of their race, because they are ashamed of being black and don't want to be identified with black, they are seeking to lose this black identity by mixing and mingling and intermarrying and integrating with the white society. The race problem cannot be solved by listening to the white-minded, brainwashed minority. The white man must try to learn what the black majority wants. The president would be wise to try and learn what the black masses want. And the only way to find this out is by listening to the man who speaks for the black masses. And I can declare to you tonight and to the entire world that the man here in America who speaks for the majority, the downtrodden, dissatisfied black masses, is this same man who so many thousands of our people are flocking toward to see and hear. This same Mr. Muhammad who is labeled by you as a black supremacist and as a racist and as an extremist. If the 3 million middle-class Negroes are casting their ballots for integration and intermarriage, what do the non-voting black masses who are in the majority want? Find out what the black masses want, and then perhaps America's grave race problem can be solved.
I'm sure you understand what Malcolm was saying, and if you even halfway conscious, you know he's telling the truth. The bourgeoisie who want the crumbs off their table, that's like Joy Reid. You see how she said, "Oh, you don't want these books in there," and then she went to talk about The Color Purple and some other book about some type of debauchery that we want our kids there. So she comes out, "Oh, the Republicans, they banning books, they taking all the books, they don't want you to know your history." That ain't my history, no way. The hell you talking about? Now let's look at these other bougies. We're gonna look at these bougies. Look how they talk. Read between the lines. They finna go off on Tim Scott, right? Now Tim Scott got his own politic, but look how Roland Martin and the bourgeoisie and the sellouts talk about him because he messed with Trump. But look how they talk. They talk exactly like Malcolm said. They are working specifically for the Democrats. Whether the rest of the masses get anything, as long as they get some crumbs, they is real sellouts. Look at Roland Martin. He's so disgusting.
Hi, I'm Dutch Masters of Carnivore Trading, and I love making money trading stocks.
Is one of these people Ready to be an e-commerce pioneer? Bluehost has step-by-step WordPress onboarding to make.
Over the weekend, as I said earlier, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott endorsed Donald Trump. Oh,
Look at the arrogance of this piece of crap. Look at the arrogance of him. What he finna say? As if somebody's gonna listen to Roland. Do you know last year when the supremacists went up in the grocery store and targeted 8 black women and deleted them? Did the Democrats give y'all a crime bill? Did the Democrats give y'all some type of protection from supremacists, even though they go up in churches and off y'all and all of that? And the reason they off y'all is because y'all are their enemies. You don't realize that? These bourgeoisies is the guard dogs for the enemy of the Republican Party. So they use these Negroes, send them out there to sway the vote for the rest of us and make us targets. They make us targets. And they always pick soft targets. Do y'all really think that that's going to stop? Because y'all always up in their faces. You're always trying to be close to them and be like them. Like you don't realize what it really is in this country. So y'all keep playing and y'all keep getting targeted to the point where you can't go to the grocery store, you can't go nowhere because somebody will always be trying to get at you. Because you don't know how to mind your own business and mingle with your own people and have self-determination. You want to belong to something, and the rest of y'all don't even care. The old people, the generation, the baby boomers, they don't care about nothing but their pensions. They don't even care about their kids' future. They don't care about their grandkids or nothing. They've been sold out. They sold out for jobs. Y'all ever see that movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker? When they said, what happened to the movement? They went down there to protest and somebody gave them a job and they sold out. That's what they doing. Please listen closely to how he talks about Tim Scott because he want to do something different than be on a Democratic plantation. Fair usage.
my God, let's just say it was interesting. Um, But one of the things that he did was he invoked the phrase that we often associate with Van Lou Hamer. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Some people ripped him for trying to sound like a Baptist preacher in endorsing Trump. I've never seen, I mean, let's be clear. I mean, my goodness. Tim Scott is doing his best to try to be a VP. What do you make of how he has comported himself since dropping the race?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to be vice president, and it couldn't be clearer. The stuff coming out of his mouth is unbelievable. He's just really been a true disappointment over the years, if I'm being honest. And the way that I worked in the Senate, and the way it started working with him, and the things that he wanted to work with on civil rights and helping Black people, to the way he is now talking about Trump and talking about the country not being racist and quoting the quotes that he uses. It's just, when you watch someone just completely change because they want leadership and power, it's disheartening and frustrating, and it's sad to see. And so hearing that and watching it, I couldn't stomach.
They ain't mad that Biden want power. They let an Indian woman who been claiming to be white her whole life, but when she wanted to be a vice president, she put on chucks and pearls and danced with the sisters. And then the moment she got in there, she said, I'm not going to do anything for Black people specifically. But they want to see a lot of you women, all y'all want to do is be in power over a man. As if that's ever going to happen on this planet. See, you ain't really mad at men, you mad at God. That's why God has turned his back on the church. You're mad at God because there is a divine order in this universe that you're upsetting the balance of. That's why the church is in the condition it is now. And they talk about him sounding like a preacher. Didn't the AME church have a bumbling Biden up in their church? Now he talking about what he gonna do for black people. And them deacons and chicken eating pastors had biting up in there in a black church. How many of y'all real black people go to churches where they bring in devils to lead the congregation and tell you stories or whatever? For real, y'all cowards is mad at black people who says we're not voting for Biden no matter what. And it's gonna be like that. Because at the end of the day, we want y'all to lose some of the benefits of debauchery that y'all was getting from the Demon Party.
Get anymore. And you're exactly right. He wants to be vice president. And please, I'm begging people, please vote for Biden and Harris. I really don't want to see it next year. I really don't. I can't say it any other way than that, to be honest.
Renita, what did you make of the seed of Senator Tim Scott?
Tim Scott is one of these people who also said that the country is not racist. He said that along with Nikki Haley. And the only thing I want to say is I see that the party of majority white people did not vote for you. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Tim Scott is somebody who I think should have been a really good test as to whether or not black folks can find something for themselves in the Republican Party, because he's already a U.S. senator. And so unlike the other people who previously ran for president on the Republican side, they had never been elected to anything, which makes it does make things harder a lot of times. Not that it's impossible. Obviously, we saw that Trump got elected, but I'm speaking about the Herman Cains of the world and other people who did not have infrastructure on their side as far as like political infrastructure. They didn't have a record that they could run on. They really had nothing except asking voters just to trust them. Tim Scott has, all the things that I just mentioned, and he still was not able to do well in the primary. So I just think it's very interesting.
Lord, if y'all want to hear somebody sell their soul, watch this.
Still think that it takes money to make money? Bullshit. That's just what rich people.
No black person has sold their soul more than Roland Martin. No sellout has ever sold out the way he sold out. He's sitting there criticizing a black man because he wants to be a Republican, because the Democrats clearly ain't doing nothing for black people, period. So why should we, you know what I mean? And he's calling somebody else a sellout like he ain't the biggest sellout. The only reason he's still on YouTube is because they pay him to come out and say the things that he say. Because who listening to him? Who really listen to him? He got a clique of bourgeoisie who consider themselves elitists and consider themselves close to the Democratic Party, trying to lead the masses to their own destruction. These people is dangerous. You think they ain't dangerous? Why you think them supremacists running up in y'all churches and catching y'all at the grocery store? Because y'all always in their face talking about what you gonna do and how you gonna take over their country and woody woody woo. And they use you. They put your face out there. They don't even, have you noticed that they don't even go at each other? They come at us. The guard dogs of the Democratic Party. Well, not me. You know what I mean? But listen to these bourgeois Negroes criticize somebody else when they definitely selling out. For crumbs at that.
Want you to believe so that they can carry on making.
Need a president who will close our southern border today. We need Donald.
Facts. Don't we need that border closed today? I showed you in my other video how they dumping hundreds of thousands of immigrants into our community. If y'all support it so good and so much, why y'all don't put them in a white community? They got more resources. They got more police protection. Why you dumping them on us? Why you study taking benefits from us? The only thing they offer in the black community is the right to abortion. They offering a whole community of people as a policy we're going to let y'all have abortions. But at the same time, we're going to bring all these immigrants over there. So y'all stop populating, let them populate so we can have a cheaper labor force with no real ties to reparations or the country. We're going to make them citizens so we can always deport them.
Trump! We need a president. We need a president who will unite our country. We need Donald Trump. We need a president who will protect your Social Security and my mama's Social Security. We need Donald Trump. We need a president today who will stop the crime and recklessness in the streets. We need a president who will restore law and order. We need Donald Trump. Oh, we need a president who will lower our taxes and not raise our taxes.
Because if y'all sound, what you trying to do?
This guy Roland Martin is such a pig. I mean, he's a disgusting pig. He's younger than me. Look at him. He's younger than me. Tell he ain't got no discipline. You can look at him and tell he's weak. Who's gonna follow these weaklings, these cowards? They so scared because the Democrats got them so scared that they trying to scare the rest of the black community. How you gonna scare us? With all the violence and crime we live around. How you gonna scare us? Because y'all don't like what a man say or whatever. My point is, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a black man. And ain't such thing as a lesser of two evils. It's an evil and it's another evil. And if you believe in God, you ain't got to choose none one of them. You could choose yourself. You could choose your own people and build from there. What do you mean? Y'all go to Koreans to get y'all nails done and make them rich and they beat the hell out you. Like y'all just won't do your own nails. Y'all keep doing that. They ain't gonna do nothing but keep tearing y'all off and sending y'all up. Watch what I tell you. You think y'all seen some violence in the past. Watch how much violence you finna see if Biden get in. I make a prediction. If Biden get in, the first thing he gonna do, because he can't run again, is throw black people that's on that party under the bus, push his agenda with the Zionists and in the rest of the world, while we struggle with the immigrants and the other issues that we got until we don't even have a community no more. That's what the boule and the bourgeoisie is leading us into, if you listening to them. They criticizing this man because he's a politician. You know what I mean? But at least he a senator. You know what I mean? And no matter what you think about him, as dark as he is, he know he can't get away from his blackness. So don't try to slander him when y'all the ones over there being the Toms and the sellouts.
We need a president who will lower our taxes and not raise our taxes. We need a president like Donald Trump. We need a president who understands the American people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We need a president our foreign adversaries are afraid of.
Oh, please.
We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Julian, go ahead.
Everybody, it's Tori Robbins. Listen, I'm driving the studio right now. I just want to make sure you don't miss out. We have
Roland, I mean, that's Mr. Bojangles there. Dancing and shucking and jiving with his eyes getting big. It's a minstrel show. But, you know, he wants to be vice president so bad he got engaged. He got to be almost 60 years old and couldn't get engaged, but now that he's trying to be regular, he went and got himself engaged. This man is disgusting, and to use Rosa Parks' words is beyond disgusting. But we know he's a he may have done some things in the Senate, but he's forfeited all that with this clownish, buffoonish behavior and his blind fealty.
Now you listen to what she just said. She said this black man got something done when he was in the Senate. They had to admit that. They said he got things done when he was in the Senate. But because he endorsing Donald Trump, all that don't mean nothing. This is the real minstrel show. Them right there. Because they want you to vote and get nothing back. So they can get their crumbs and still be elitists and bourgeoisie and look down their nose over you. And then you look at Roland Martin, watch what he say, but look at his character and look at his face. You could tell he closer to being a grandmammy than a granddaddy. For sure.
A very flawed man who he just months ago was trying to replace. Now he sees a lane to become vice president, but who would I would love for him to be the vice president nominee so that Kamala Harris could take him just wipe the floor with him. And when she got finished wiping the floor, she could clean the windows with him because he just is. This is just an absurd.
Look at her disingenuous lying behind. Kamala Harris' goofy butt can't wipe the floor with nobody. Her claim to fame was sending black women to jail in California because of truancy with their kids. I mean, these liars, they lying is at the level of betrayal now. They betraying the general aspirations of black people in the name of the Democratic Party. They asking you, and they really asking you, trying to scare you and coerce you into voting for a party that already said they're not going to do anything for you. So if they've already said that, what are these people doing? Why they so gung-ho? Why they going so hard for a party that already said we ain't gonna do nothing for y'all? Why they so gung-ho? Because they getting the crumbs off the table like Malcolm told you.
Absurdity. But you know what? He has figured out how to, first of all, when he announced that he was running for president, I told someone, if I had $1 for every time he said God, I would have myself a nice meal at the Four Seasons somewhere because he acted like God was about to be his running mate. So at least this mess, he didn't invoke so much God, but he invoked a lot of nonsense. But we know this is how we know Tim Scott. We know that he's blindly ambitious. We know that he has Republican fealty, and we know that he clearly does not have good sense. And he shows us that every time he opens his mouth. That was disgusting.
But a minute ago, she said that when he was in the Senate, he got shit done for us. So you mean to tell me they that mad because he has ambitions to get into a position to where he could do more? What's motivating these sellouts?
Disgusting.
I had to just sit here and laugh at McCongo watching that. First of all, trying to sit here and talk. Anybody on McCongo who gives a speech and says Donald Trump is going to unite the country, they got to be high.
They got to be high. They got to be delusional. They got to be on something. I mean, I've never seen a more opportunistic politician with no chance of rising anywhere beyond being a senator. I mean, it was embarrassing, but I mean, not really. I guess embarrassing can't be the word because this is just who he is. I mean, he's always been somebody who's been conniving and will kiss the butt of whoever he needs to try to get to the next level. I do believe, however, that because of how powerful the issues of, and I don't know if this Booker disagrees, but because of how powerful the issues of abortion are and what's going on relating to that, I think that Donald Trump is going to pick a female as his vice presidential candidate because I think that having two men out there who are speaking against women's rights are going to hurt the party even more. And so I think he's going to have a woman who's going to get up there and talk about being quote unquote, pro-life and all of this other type of stuff to try.
This is so weird. And they claim like they Christians. They so weird. The Democratic Party whole thing is we will let y'all black women have abortions. We ain't gonna give you nothing else, but we will let y'all have abortions unadulterated. We'll let your kids have them without them even having to tell you. The kids ain't even got to tell you that they switching genders when they go to school. Look at these people. Look at these people. Look at these times. It's ridiculous.
Try to minimize some of the things that Vice President Harris is saying, or at least have two women go at it. And so I think, Tim Scott's time is truly past. And I don't believe that the Republican Party is ever going to embrace him or Ramaswamy or any of these guys in any way, shape, or form. This MAGA crowd, they have decided that they want it to be white and male at the top and as well as in the VP race. And so this is not, I don't know, Tim Scott just looks so out of place, man. He sounds out of place. He looks out of place. And they just look at him as a joke. And so now that, Donald Trump could basically say, I got my other African American right now. Where's my African American like he did before? It's right here with Tim Scott. And Tim Scott is just disgraceful. And to disrespect the legacy of Fannie Lou Hamer like that, no respect, no love, but we didn't have any for you anyway.
And of course, getting engaged over the weekend. Too late, bro. Too late. They already were questioning whether you were gay during the primary.
That's what I want y'all to see. You see how dirty and low down this scumbag is. He doing what they always do. When you disagree with a black man, you say that somebody thought he was gay. Wait a minute. Y'all always talking about how y'all the party of inclusion, but you use a whole community's lifestyle as a derogatory statement against your enemies. I want to do the LGBTQ community see that the moment y'all want to attack somebody, y'all say they belong over there. As an insult. But look at Roland Martin. He has a lot of nerve. He has a lot of nerve. Because I get big bussy energy from him. Big bussy energy.
And he had to actually come and roll his girlfriend out. So, yeah, that's a little too late. Tamia, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me. Always.
I'm going to end there. I showed you these clips, a different, I just went through it like that. But the key part is Malcolm X described them to the T. To the T. They want us on the Democratic plantation. Remember how Malcolm said the ones that get close to him are the gatekeepers, but they can't figure out what the rest of the majority of the black community want. Remember Joy Reid? She think we want our children going to the school reading about incest and dildos. So she said, oh, they taking books out to school. Yeah, take them damn books out of there, especially them. I teach my kids black history at home. If my kid go to school, teach them math and science and the language. They history, they can learn from me. Black people, y'all all, not, I ain't gonna say black people. These ones here, man, they traitors in every form, shape, and fashion. They riding Tim Scott because he made a decision. You know what I'm saying? Now they questioning his manhood, questioning his sincerity, but they said that he was the only black man that was in the Senate that got something done. So if he get to be a vice president and he do get another position, if he got something done in the Senate, you think he ain't gonna get nothing done? These are the reason that we are still stuck in second-class citizenship. This is the reason we are still at the bottom of the social stratosphere in this country. These are the real traitors. And I guarantee you, if Biden get in and can't run again, watch how y'all get targeted. Watch how the whole world turns against you as a minority that's being overran by another whole nation of people in their own communities. Because some people just want to be close to white folks at all costs. They don't care if the rest of us fall off the planet or suffer. They just want their little crumbs off the table. If you play this video, go back and listen to what Malcolm X said. And his integrity is unquestionable. So they're not going to push this video, I already know. So like, share, and subscribe on the video. And, if you disagree with what I'm saying, you can voice your opinion in the comments, but don't attack me, because if you attack me in my comments, I'm going to talk about your mama and everything. I'm going to hurt your feelings. So be respectful. I put that on everything. I'm going to hurt your feelings if you get in my comments and you being disrespectful, talking about, oh, I don't support MAGA or Democrats. I'm a black man. And neither one of them never did nothing for me. Everything that a black man has gotten, he has gotten through the sweat of his brow. They ain't never gave us nothing. Little Richard told you that they ain't never gave us nothing. The whole question of slavery was ended because of what Nat Turner did. That's why they don't like to tell you about Nat Turner. They like to tell you about, oh, Harriet Tubman, she helped the slaves escape up north. And this one here helped the people run away. Nat Turner ran up in Massa house, then ran up in his neighbor's house, and then went to every other plantation that had slaves. He didn't run nowhere except up on them. So they ain't gonna never tell you about that part of our history. Not these bougies. Y'all need to really pay attention to what's going on and stop being manipulated. Please go back to the part that Malcolm X was telling you, because it's the same then as it was now. They still on the Democratic plantation. Like, share, and subscribe. Sound you out of Detroit. Y'all better keep your head on swivel. Peace.